I got you. Take it easy.
Alright, creatures of the night! Welcome to episode 169 of Talking Taker! Our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one of your co-hosts, one of your creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy. He is coming at you like a bat out of hell. He is Mr. Travis White. Travis, hell has frozen over. We're talking the final match in the history of Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. We're stepping inside Hell in a Cell 2015. Can you believe it?
Can you believe that is the second Meatloaf reference in my life in the last 2 days? Would you believe?
Why is there not more?
It happened on Halloween. We're recording this on a Monday. It happened on Halloween. Yeah, another Meatloaf reference. So that's the second one.
Rocky Horror Picture Show related?
No, it was somebody asked me to do something. I said I will do anything for love, but I won't do that. So that was just my answer to them.
So you instigated it.
Yeah, I instigated it. So, and then actually today, somebody said something. They came flying out of work. I said, man, it came out like a bat out of Hades. So I guess that's the third one in the last 3 days. So anyway,
that's a good week.
Yeah, man, too much meatloaf. No way.
No such
some
thing.
More meatloaf, baby.
Give it to me.
I don't even like the real meatloaf. I like that guy. I don't like the food. I want meatloaf. Right. More meatloaf. Anyway, yeah, man, this is off to a great start.
Great start.
Wow, meatloaf.
Well, like we said here, this is one of The Undertaker's most prolific rivalries against Brock Lesnar. So many matches over 13 years. All of them, honestly, really, really great matches. Some of The Undertaker's best matches, some of his most brutal matches, indeed. Mm-hmm. But obviously a sore subject because easily the most one-sided rivalry in the history of The Undertaker here, too. But one final match, it's got to take place. There's only one place that can contain it, is inside Hell in a Cell. You know, it's kind of like what our country's going through right now. It's like, you know, this week's election week. It's like Trump and Biden going inside Hell in a Cell. Just that's the only place that could contain them. You know, I think that would fix everything if they could just go back and do that.
I wish that was how we could select this. What time of this drops, we'll already know. Well, hopefully. We'll see.
Exactly. So we are recording this Monday night, folks, so we don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 days. So if...
Who's going to take an F5 on the exposed...
Exactly. If we make a weird joke or a reference that, you know, doesn't make sense over the next 3 days, just that we recorded this in the past. But that's the warning here tonight. But we're going to try to take your mind off of all that insanity, because I'm sure this will be a crazy next few days. And we're going to take our time traveling hearse all the way back to August of 2015 and tell you how we get to this brutal and bloody final battle between The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar here as we head back to the Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam 2015, picking up after that controversial ending to last week's episode, to that match between Lesnar and Undertaker where it appeared that The Undertaker tapped out. The referee rang the bell prematurely without or the timekeeper rang the bell prematurely without the referee's signal. And then The Undertaker ended up getting the win over Brock Lesnar, even though Brock Lesnar did not tap out, gave him a middle finger as he faded off into oblivion. But Brock Lesnar is going to come out with Paul Heyman in a very, very bitter mood to address this controversy from last night. And I'd be bitter too. Wouldn't you, Travis, if you had cuts and scrapes and bruises all over your face?
Yeah, if you're Brock and you look like this, it's like you've been in a train wreck, man. He was beat up. I had no idea how beat up he was.
Yeah.
Like, his eye is like bloodshot and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, he looks like he got the rough end of it here, and he truly did here, as he's got a sour look on his face, and Paul Heyman gets right into it. He says, "What happened last night? I'll tell you what happened. After 25 years, The Undertaker finally tapped out. But instead, what the history books are going to talk about is The Undertaker getting a win after all these years against his client, Brock Lesnar. A disputed win. But it is an indisputable fact that Brock Lesnar forced The Undertaker to tap out." And Heyman throws to a replay on the screen, of course, showing The Undertaker tapping Brock Lesnar and telling him that he gives up. Heyman says the video does not lie, and then he goes on to describe what exactly tapping out means. And I love his description of it, as he says,
You know what that means? Tapping out? It means The Undertaker said, Brock Lesnar, you're a better man than I am. You're a better wrestler than I am. You're a better fighter than I am. Brock Lesnar, please let go of my arm. I can take it no more. It's like a little kid in a schoolyard getting his ass kicked, getting in a fetal position, saying, please leave me alone. Or in this case, please leave me alone.
which is, that's not typically how you think of The Undertaker.
No, but he's not wrong. I mean, that's great.
He's not wrong, no. Heyman says that footage that he just showed pretty much ruined people's childhood. It's basically the same as telling these kids that there's no Santa, there's no Easter Bunny, is telling them that The Undertaker tapped out. Heyman says...
He's in the crowd of actual children when he says
well, he's
that.
a heel. He's a heel. He can say that.
Yeah, but what if those kids don't know that?
Their parents can tell him he's a liar. He's Paul Heyman.
That's true.
He's a
to the source. Yeah.
He's a Jew, you know.
What? Whoa. Okay. Wait a minute.
Of course, he doesn't believe in those things.
Okay.
Heyman says he doesn't blame the timekeeper for ringing the bell and causing all that confusion last night, because the timekeeper had compassion on The Undertaker. He understood that Brock Lesnar would have ripped The Undertaker apart if he held him in that hold. And Heyman says, I'm going to get real with you. Let's go ahead and talk about it. The internet is talking all over today about how The Undertaker collapsed backstage after this match, just like he did at WrestleMania. So I actually pulled it up. There's an article on Bleacher Report from the night after SummerSlam, where you got some fans on their cell phones shooting The Undertaker as he walks towards the backstage area and collapses right before he gets back there. So pretty sure it's all part of this storyline, because Paul Heyman retweeted it and was making fun of Undertaker for it. I think they're kind of going for that work to shoot feel, but it's a nice, interesting twist on things.
Oh yeah, I dug it. I remember that happening too, and this time, I mean, in 2014 WrestleMania, it was legit, but this time it's like we know that people will think it could be legit because it actually happened. So let's go with it. So
exactly,
and it helps build the story here as we head into the Hell in a Cell. So I like it.
Heyman says that the desperation of The Undertaker was evident when he kicked Brock Lesnar right there in the Jimmy John yet again, and showed just his desperate need to tap Brock Lesnar out. But Brock Lesnar refused to tap out and instead told Undertaker to GFY as he faded out, which, what does that stand for, Travis?
I don't know.
No speculation? No? Okay.
I got nothing, because I can only think of what it stands for. Good for you.
Good for you, Taker. Good for you.
Good for you.
He told him he was number one. He said, good for you, buddy.
Good for you. That's what it was. Took me a second. I got there.
I think we should make new Talking Taker t-shirts that say GFY on the front. And on the back it says good for you.
Talking Taker podcast. GFY. The Talking Taker podcast is GFY.
It's good for you. Yeah.
It's good for you. Hey, all right. Whoever wants to design that, we'll take the best one.
We'll tell you GFY if you go make it.
great.
Well, Heyman continues on saying Undertaker might be the aging gunslinger, but he can't shoot with Brock Lesnar. And says they're out here tonight because Brock Lesnar wants to fight The Undertaker one more time. He's not here to issue a challenge for Survivor Series, or WrestleMania, or Royal Rumble, or Madison Square Garden. Not for Saturday, not for Sunday, not for church, not for heaven. He ain't waiting for hell. He's challenging The Undertaker right here in Brooklyn tonight. And Lesnar gets all hyped up. He rips his shirt off. It's business time. And someone's going to come out here to answer the challenge. But it's not The Undertaker. It's Bo Dallas.
Good for you.
Good GFY, Bo Dallas. GFY. He does a lap around the ring and gets in the ring on the microphone and tells Mr. Brock that he has good news and bad news. The bad news is that last night Brock Lesnar passed out. The good news is that he eventually woke up. And he probably had a sweet dream that he actually beat The Undertaker. And Bo tells Brock,
You can make those dreams come true. All you have to do is believe.
Man, how you feel about Bo Dallas, Travis?
My favorite part of this whole thing is when he comes out and JBL says, "That's the dumbest human being on the planet." He's shooting. It's not even part of the storyline. Man, I'll tell you what, Bo Dallas, I didn't mind him in NXT when he was champion. He was kind of a heel, like a good heel champion. Guy you wanted to see get his behind handed to him, you know. He did not translate well to the main roster, but he is hilarious to me when he does stuff like this. This is perfect. Like, I'm laughing at it because it's so stupid, and like JBL is just crapping on it, and I love it. So I'm fine with it. He's never going to be an Intercontinental title type guy or anything, but he's fun for his little niche role of a comedy character.
Oh yeah, he plays this role perfectly.
Yeah.
That night where he got kicked out of NXT and the whole crowd was chanting, Bo, leave. Bo, leave. Like, that's one of my favorite NXT moments of all time. And he tries to get back in the building. That stuff's great here. And Brock, he's not a big fan of Bo Dallas here tonight because he just murders him with a clothesline, takes him to Suplex City a couple times, and then he's going to leave. But before he can get to the top of the ramp, Paul Heyman makes it clear that he hates Bo Dallas even more than Brock Lesnar does because he tells him, go get you one more. And Brock Lesnar runs back in the ring, hits another German suplex. He goes to Bo leave one more time, and Heyman says, yeah, give me one more. And Lesnar goes in and hits an F5, and then Heyman gets on the mic and tells Bo that Brock Lesnar, Bo leaves. So
there you go.
Man, highlight of Bo Dallas's career right here, getting suplexed by Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, highlight of Raw, man.
They should make Bo Dallas the spokesperson for Bojangles.
They should.
Well,
I was thinking the same thing.
Bo Leave and your Bo-Berry biscuit and your Bo Rounds. Come on, man. That's a layup.
One Bo round. Yeah, exactly. It's great. It's always one Bo round. I love Bojangles. It's great. So
best fries in fast food, man. If you don't know Bojangles fries, you're not living. They're
so good, man. So good. I'll put them up there with Checkers, man. They're just great. Great stuff. Or Rallies, wherever you're from. Yeah. That was very memorable segment. Memorable Raw. This was the one with Dudley Boys come back, dude. I remember that. That was awesome.
Dudley Boys, Sting.
Back. Yeah, and then Braun Strowman debuted that night as well. And then Sting comes out as the statue of Seth Rollins. This is a big night in Raw.
Yeah.
I remember all those things separately, which is funny. I didn't know they were all on the same night. But
Sting's makeup halfway off his face. That's the only part of that sucks, dude.
He's sweating like a hog under there, dude. It's so hot. So, anyway, well, that's going to take us to Night of Champions, which, again, there's no Undertaker stuff through here, and so, but this is the next pay-per-view. This is where Sting fights Rollins, but they've edited this clip off the network, but it is still available online, and we'll see it in subsequent episodes of Raw. But it's a promo that plays here at Night of Champions on September 20th. for Brock Lesnar's Go to Hell tour.
Sleep, go to hell, repeat. Eat, sleep, go to hell, repeat. Eat, sleep, go to hell, repeat.
So Heyman's doing a voiceover hyping Lesnar's appearances all throughout the month of October. So they're really putting the hype machine, the promotional, material behind Brock Lesnar. And we mentioned this after, WrestleMania 30, that was it the right choice to pick Brock to beat Taker? That's neither here nor there. But what they were going to do with Brock moving it forward, making him a, what do you call it? Like a special attraction. That if that was the goal, then it succeeded because they did stuff like this. Nobody else gets this particular tour, they have of their own. But Heyman's highlighting Brock's appearances. They've got Brock versus Big Show at Madison Square Garden coming up. Brock on Stone Cold's podcast, and then they just announced it here at Night of Champions. Brock versus the Undertaker at Hell in a Cell in a Hell in a Cell match. So Heyman touts it as Brock's most formidable opponent in the most formidable match in WWE. So I have no clue why it's cut off the network here because, like I said, it's in subsequent episodes of Raw. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe they played some weird song over it on that night or something. I don't know. But anyway.
Might have played Meatloaf.
They could play Paradise.
Like a Brock out of hell.
Exactly. Well, that would have been great. So,
that would have been awesome.
But anyway, the MSG show is on the network. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, it was a really interesting way to announce that Brock and Taker would face off, I guess. They were just, again, nowadays we got the network. And so they can use different avenues. There's no competition. TNA wasn't really much of a competition back then. So, there's different. They're doing different things. And I give them kudos for trying something else here,
Yeah, I kind of wish it would have been something more of Undertaker responding to Brock Lesnar's challenge. And they actually do this again going into Survivor Series, which I'll talk about towards the end of the show that I wish they had done a little bit differently. But
for sure for that, yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do? But
Yeah,
so like you mentioned, Brock Lesnar is going to move on to this little mini feud with the Big Show here for the next few weeks to kill some time before Hell in a Cell, basically. And they try to rehab Big Show by having him get a couple wins over Cesaro and Mark Henry on a couple episodes of Raw. And then they do this live from Madison Square Garden special that aired on the WWE Network, which, I guess the thing is that the rights to air live TV from Madison Square Garden are crazy expensive now, and they like to do the pay-per-views from the Barclays Center instead of MSG these days. But MSG is still very sentimental. It's always cool when they do things from there. And apparently this is Brock's first appearance at MSG since he came back to WWE. And we were there at his last appearance at MSG, WrestleMania 20, episode 100 of this podcast. If you want to go back in the archives and hear a rare quote-unquote live episode from us as we describe watching that match and all the other things there live. But
everybody at MSG gave him the good for you.
He sure did. But they like him a lot more on this night, Travis. You can tell he's been eating his Babyface Pops cereal because he gets a huge one tonight. Crowd loves him, and it goes a lot better for him here on this night because he defeats Big Show in a pretty quick but also a pretty fun match because it's just these two guys hitting a bunch of finishers on each other for 5 minutes. Big Show hits a couple joke slams, and Brock throws Big Show around. That's always fun to see here. But Brock gets a pretty definitive win over Show to give him another boost here, heading into the feud with Undertaker, kicking back into gear again the next night on Raw.
Yeah, so on October 5th of 2015, this episode of Raw, Brock Lesnar and Heyman are going to open the show. We see highlights from, Brock defeating Big Show at MSG, and this was that era of Big Show where the fans would chant "Please retire" at him.
It's just brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal. So Heyman calls Brock the Slayer of the Giant, the Conqueror of the Streak, and tonight's Beast of Boston. So again, you're saying stuff like that, he's going to be a babyface. So big old Suplex City chants from the crowd again. He is all in as babyface here. But Heyman says that since the Go to Hell tour has been kicked off and the show has been defeated, the focus is now on Hell in a Cell. He says ever since November 1990, the Undertaker has dominated everyone coming to his path. But Undertaker must learn that this is a fight that he cannot win. He says that, Taker has always gotten revenge on anybody who's ever done anything to him, but not Brock Lesnar. So he says that Taker considers Hell in a Cell to be the devil's playground, but Brock considers it to be the lair of the beast. So they should have a lair of the beast match. That'd be great. So,
ooh, I'd like to see that.
That's like something Matt Hardy would do, like AEW.
Lair of the beast match.
Yeah, exactly. But Heyman says that Hell in a Cell isn't Taker's match anymore, just like WrestleMania isn't Taker's anymore. Which that's pretty
pretty savage.
Pretty savage comment right there. So, but then we see highlights from WrestleMania 30, the end of the streak, and then Paul again reiterates what he said before SummerSlam about Taker's been plotting revenge for a year and a half, and then he got desperate and realized that he's not man enough to get revenge on Brock Lesnar. So then we see highlights of the ending of their match at SummerSlam with the low blow and the tap out and all that. And then Paul says that he doesn't remember Brock ever having to use a low blow against the Undertaker, but that's what Taker had to do. Which is not, he's not telling anything untrue right here. So
remember that, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Remember that. So he says,
"All of you will walk out of Hell in a Cell and ascend to the heavens as the victor, as the winner of this storied rivalry." Forget the PG vernacular of this war. One of you walks out the winner of the history of Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. The other will not walk out of that cell at all. That's not a prediction. That, Undertaker, is a spoiler.
Well,
it's a big show. Didn't get renewed.
maybe it can come out on Quibi. Oh,
Maybe.
wait a second. Oh, dang it.
Yeah, it'll go to the WWE Network. It probably will. Big Show comes out, gets in the ring with a
Why? Why can we not get rid of this guy? Dude? We cannot escape him on this show.
Well, the fans are chanting, "Please retire," which, again, that's painfully
That's
horrible
rough.
to yell at anybody.
I kind of feel that way, but I still feel bad for him.
Yeah.
That's mean.
I felt
That's
that
too
way
far.
at this point.
Yeah.
I got sick of seeing him just in the main event scene. Like, just, I don't know. Him and Kane were drove me crazy just as the authorities, henchmen and stuff. It just drove me crazy. But I never want him to retire. I still have a lot of respect for Big Show, man. It just, I like him more now than I did back then.
Still main eventing WrestleMania in 2020.
Exactly. But Big Show says that he got taken to Suplex City and he offers his hand to shake, and Brock just laughs at him and walks away because why would he want to shake his hand? So, yeah, no reason. That Show, and then as he's leaving, Big Show gets on the mic and says, "You know what? I hope that you lose to Undertaker again." So that doesn't sit too well with the Beast. So he gets back in the ring, and JBL says that Big Show threw down a card and Lesnar picked it up, which he didn't say Punk, but that's what he meant.
That's what he meant. That's exactly what he
Punk
meant.
Card, but he did not say. Maybe he didn't want to give that away, a kayfabe away on audio. I don't know.
He's probably not allowed to say the word punk in 2015.
Could been. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, too soon. Too soon after Punk
soon.
left. So, yeah, but I did appreciate him at least mentioning that. So
we know what he's talking about.
We know. But he gets in the ring and lays out Big Show with a belly to belly and then an F5. So, again, just really putting Brock on a pedestal here. Just, again, he ended the streak. And in my opinion, I wrote this in my notes, that there's nobody else you could insert into Brock's place in this story or in history in WWE and make this as believable as it was at the time. You know, I mean, nobody else is out there belly to belly in the Big Show over their head, you know, and handling Mark Henry and handling these guys and, you know, pinning the Undertaker. Like, no one else could. Like, it just, I don't know. It just, he's the guy that has to be there doing it.
I'll never get tired of seeing it either.
No.
Brock throw a 500-pound man on his shoulders and toss him around. It's wild.
Yeah.
Well, I never get tired of seeing that, but next week on Raw, on October 12th, 2015, we see something that probably should never have to see, and that is a tweet from Brock Lesnar. That sentence should never have to be said here, but going through, I'm sure he didn't actually write this. I'm sure someone in WWE posted this on his account. I'm sure Brock Lesnar doesn't even know how to access Twitter here, but it's a tweet that says 13 days till at WWE hashtag HIAC, and that will be an unlucky 13 for The Undertaker. So using social media to build up to the pay-per-view here, I guess that was still kind of novel in 2015, as Cole tells us that at Hell in a Cell, it will be the culmination of a 13-year rivalry. Which is interesting that he says that, because that's kind of the extent of them alluding to the full past of Undertaker Brock Lesnar, which is one of the disappointing things for this rivalry. I'd say one of the only disappointing things, because overall this story's been pretty fun for the SummerSlam match and this match. Obviously the WrestleMania 30 part is very disappointing and lackluster in a lot of ways, but this SummerSlam match and this Hell in a Cell match that we get to, a lot of good stuff going on here. But they never talk about the fact that these guys had some barn burner matches in 2002, and they had a long rivalry between them, and they had a Hell in a Cell match previously that was awesome and brutal. And I just wish they'd have showed some footage of that kind of stuff along the way. I mean, they kind of will say it in some ways, but they just... I don't think... I get... For some reason, they think they only want to focus on the present, but I don't know. Adding in the past stuff would have made it better. What do you think?
Yeah, that's my nitpick with this thing. It was kind of like the Triple H WrestleMania matches too. Like they didn't mention it until after they had the second one. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I actually have wrestled him at WrestleMania before. So it just that kind of stuff drives me crazy. And it could add so much more to the story. Because you could go back there. They were two different guys. I don't know if they don't want to do that because Taker was the American big evil, but I don't know what the deal is. But but back then Brock owned Taker every time, so that would be even more to the story.
I agree.
I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, that's my only nitpick because I really dig everything that they feed us here.
So, real quick, they just show some videos throughout this episode of Raw. I'm sure you can find them on YouTube if you want, but they break it into 3 chapters. Chapter 1 is the shock, which shows the end of the streak. Chapter 2 is the controversy, which shows the end of SummerSlam. And Chapter 3 is the final chapter, Goes to Hell, which shows Undertaker's history in Hell in a Cell, combined with the path of destruction that Brock Lesnar has been on for the past couple years since he has come back. So, simple, basic storytelling here, but... when you have the history and the presence that these guys have, you can get away with just showing some little stuff like this. So,
and we'll see that promo a lot more.
Yes, we'll see all this stuff.
Yeah, so that's just going to take us to the go-home show for Hell in a Cell. So this is Raw, October 19th, 2015, and Stone Cold Steve Austin opens the show in Dallas tonight. So this is the first time Austin's been on Raw in over 4 years, which I didn't realize that, but I guess it was Mania 27 when he was last on the show. So,
another show we were at.
Yeah.
So, we got bad luck with Brock Lesnar and Stone Cold. They both we go to WrestleManias with them and they both disappear. It's so bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Because he was at WrestleMania 30, for the opening thing with Rock and Hogan, but he hadn't been on Raw or anything. So distance himself maybe, but he's here to promote the the podcast. Immediately after Raw, he's going to interview Brock Lesnar. So, but he's also going to welcome his guest at this time, The Undertaker, and then he just disappears. He welcomes Taker out, and then he's not seen again. I have no idea where he went.
How rude to your guest.
Yeah, I know, seriously. But Taker gets a great ovation here. Again, they're in Texas, 2 Texas natives, 2 guys that have battled in and out of Texas, met each other at the Sportatorium. It's so much history with them. why would we possibly capitalize on any of that? Let's just have Stone Cold roll out of the ring and Taker come in and not even address it. I mean, nothing, not even a nod or a tip of the cap or anything. I don't know, man. I don't understand why not. But
it was really weird.
And I can't remember last time we discussed Taker and Stone Cold in the ring at the same time, and they're not really in the ring for the same time for much more than 2 seconds here. But Taker gets in the ring and he says, "Brock Lesnar," and the crowd is just booing all over. Like you said last week on our episode, WWE is kind of just letting you pick who you like here. They're not pushing anybody as the babyface or the heel. They both kind of have, black and white. They're both kind of shades of gray. So when you're in Texas, Brock Lesnar's the heel. When you're in Minnesota and it's homecoming night, Taker's the heel. So I kind of like that, how the week before the pay-per-view match, there's, kind of in the other guy's home area, home turf.
Yeah,
so,
I like
pretty
that
cool.
too. Yeah.
But Taker says,
And listen when I say this, son. The depths of hell will look like the gates to heaven compared to where I'm going to take you this Sunday. At hell in a cell.
Which pretty intimidating to say to somebody. So then Lesnar's music hits and he and Heyman come marching out into the arena, and Heyman is kind of trying to chill Brock out and stop him, and they stop on the stage, and Heyman does his introduction of who he is and introduces his client Brock Lesnar and says that the Undertaker and Brock will both enter Hell in a Cell consumed by revenge. Brock wants to avenge the tainted victory that Taker got over him at the SummerSlam, and Taker is consumed by lust for revenge wants to get revenge for Brock for conquering the streak at WrestleMania 30. And he says this Sunday they'll fight for the very last time, and Brock Lesnar will take his revenge. Then the Undertaker will be forced to learn what it's like to live or die with a tainted legacy, a legacy of dominance over everybody else except the conqueror that took everything away from you. Which I think that's cool, man. He's right. Taker has always gotten one up on everybody who's done anything to him. Sometimes he just completely one-sidedly owned the feuds, going in and out of pay-per-views. But here, he really, hasn't gotten that definitive victory over Brock Lesnar, which is a cool storytelling device.
What do we always say is the best stuff? Is the stuff that plays into reality, that you don't have to stretch. You don't have to make up things with Teddy Long trying to do a screw job over Undertaker for no reason.
Exactly.
This is all reality based.
Mm-hmm. It is.
As much as the zombie of the Undertaker can be reality based.
Exactly. But the in-ring stuff is reality based.
Yes.
So yeah. But Taker's going to interrupt him here, and he says, see, that's where your problem is. And he takes off his hat, his jacket, and he says, when you take everything from a man, that man ends up fighting with nothing to lose. And then he just puts his hand up and does like the Rock's just bring it hand signal, just kind of tells Lesnar to bring it. So I love it, man. Brock makes his way down, and Heyman's trying to instruct him not to. Don't do that. And Lesnar's marching toward the ring. Lesnar hops on the apron and starts bouncing, and Heyman's begging him, quick, just stop. He's like, he's in your head. Then Brock backs down, kind of backs up the ramp, walks away, and then now Heyman says, now you're in his head. So Heyman's just so good with these little things like that. Nobody told him to say that. He just knows it. Well, Taker looks at Brock as he's backing up the rampway, and he does a throat slash and the purple lights, and we end the scene here going into Hell in a Cell. So, I liked that there was no physicality here. They didn't suplex each other or F5 or hit a last ride through a table. You're still waiting to pay to see that. But these guys are going to fight for the last time ever. And they may have known that at the time, but never say never in wrestling. But it's been 5 years they haven't touched, so I'd say it's pretty over. So.
Undertaker did the Rock's hand symbol. He gave him the just bring it. But Stone Cold was out there earlier. You think he should have given him the GFY, the good for you hand symbol instead? It would have made more sense on this night.
Yeah, it would have. It sure would have. So.
Well, speaking of Stone Cold, we got another stop on Brock Lesnar's Go to Hell tour as he is on a live Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast that airs immediately after Raw on the WWE Network. They used to do these for a while, every few months on there, and always entertaining. I mean, who would have ever thought Stone Cold would become one of the greatest podcasters and interviewers in the world today? Man, he is. He's fantastic at it. Still is to this day. And I'm sure most of you guys listening, you probably watched this back in the time. I went back and watched some clips of it because he does talk about Undertaker briefly, but most of it spent just kind of telling Brock's life story, going through the early parts of his career, talking about him leaving in WWE in 2004, talking about him going to UFC, his diverticulitis scare, all that stuff. And, you know, Brock's not the most engaging vocal person, but Stone Cold is able to pull some good stuff out of him, and it is really interesting to hear a human side of Brock Lesnar when he's such a monster in every other aspect of his life. I liked one part in it where they're talking about his promos in the UFC versus his promos in WWE, because he cut some wild ones in UFC back in the day.
He did.
I won't repeat them on here. You can go look them up if you don't remember them. But Stone Cold asked him, "Why is it so different in WWE? Why don't you talk much in WWE?" And Brock's like,
"I gotta feed the Jew. he's gotta eat."
Oh man.
He kind of breaks down the dynamic between him and Heyman, and talks about how Heyman adds so much to the Brock Lesnar persona. It's really like the Paul Bearer Undertaker relationship in a lot of ways. Like Undertaker would be awesome either way, and Brock Lesnar would be awesome either way. But that combination just gives it so much extra.
Extra mustard on it, man. It's good.
Yeah. And of course, Stone Cold talks about watching WrestleMania 30. He said he had a beer in each hand, but when Lesnar broke the streak, his jaw hit the floor. He asked Lesnar what it means to break the streak, and Lesnar, he has a huge appreciation for it. He says it was bigger than winning the WWE Championship, honestly. And they talk about the criticism that Brock has gotten for breaking the streak, and Brock basically says what you said earlier, Travis. He says, I mean, who else would have had enough credibility to do it? I mean, he's not trying to toot his own horn, but he's just kind of being honest. Like, he's the guy to do it here. So just a little bit of Taker talk there on that podcast as it leads us into the final stop on the Go to Hell tour, the final match ever between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell 2015.
Yeah, and it's funny, they bill this as, the final meeting ever. And to me, it almost kind of felt like, I don't even have this in my notes, but it almost kind of felt like more of a shoot style thing. Like, like in boxing, where you don't have storylines, you have legit athletes, and, it's like, so-and-so has 2 wins over him, the other guy has 2 more. We're going to do this, the 5th time they fight, it's going to be the last time ever, and see who, like, and you can do that in UFC. You have these rivalries that are built off people trading wins back and forth. This almost seems like that too, because these guys have such a history. Again, WWE doesn't bring a lot of the old stuff into it, but it is it's almost a little more, a little more like realistic as far as like the way they're billing it as the last time. And it's not like The Rock and Cena special attraction. This is like 2 guys who do wrestle, So I don't know. It just kind of felt more like a UFC or boxing type of promotional type thing. And Vince is a promoter. That's what he is. He's a promoter at heart, and he's doing, in my opinion, a good job of promoting this to make you want to buy it. Oh, this is the last time they're ever going to meet. Like that's pretty special. So again, never say never in wrestling, but pretty sure it's his last time they'll ever meet in the ring. So
probably so. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
But anyway, that's going to bring us to Hell in a Cell. This is October 25th, 2015 from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. So, last time they were in New York, now they're in L.A., so hitting the old hot spots of the East and the West Coast there. So this Hell in a Cell match is actually 13 years and 5 days after their previous one, just to the day. I just checked it out.
That's cool.
So, but again, it's too bad they never brought that up. And It's to me, it's also crazy in the opening package of this, and the main draws for this pay-per-view are this match and then Kane and Seth Rollins. So the Brothers of Destruction are in the two main featured matches on this pay-per-view, which just blew my mind.
Wasn't that the two main guys in the matches 13 years ago? Wasn't it Brock and Undertaker and Triple H and Kane?
It was
that
Biker Chain match, wasn't it? It was them two at least.
No,
it wasn't.
It was Hell in a Cell.
Oh yeah,
and then Triple H and Kane were having like the Katie
Vick story. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't think about that part, but that's nuts, man.
It's kind of cool and kind of sad at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, this one is, of course, going to be our main event here for the evening. We got JBL Cole and King on commentary, and this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they always go big on this during this time, and I completely support it. I support breast cancer awareness and research 100%. I'm glad WWE does, but to me, man, it just seems a little bit weird when you're having a Hell in a Cell match and the ropes are pink.
That's very true.
It's just, I don't know, man. That's maybe a little bit too much for me. Like, put the pink ribbon on the entryway, put it everywhere, show some commercials or something. It's just a little weird when you're having this brutal feud. And I love the color pink, man. I wear pink all the time. I got no problem with it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm outdated. It's just a little weird to watch.
It is true. The pink rope and the Hell in a Cell, most brutal match in WWE history. The Beast and the Dead Man got a pink rope. So yeah, it is kind of funny when you look at it that way. But as this cell lowers, Michael Cole hypes it up again. This is the last time they're ever going to meet. We see that same highlight video we've seen in the past few weeks, and Brock's music hits, and he and Paul Heyman come out, and JBL says that the whole atmosphere just changed. And Cole says that he says that Brock Lesnar has had one cell match in his career, and also one victory. Okay, it's the one cell match against the Undertaker, and he beat him. So why not mention it? And I'm going to use a little parallel here. I didn't use it earlier when you asked because I wanted to save it for this, but this is the kind of stuff that drives me nuts as a fan. We've talked about this extensively on here. Just, you're insulting my intelligence. I am paying attention to this stuff. I know the story. I know it all. I'm not a new fan. Throw us a bone.
Finish the thought. Come on, man. We all know. Yes.
And it reminded me, I like to do my movie parallels, my pop culture parallels. So the Transformers movies, okay, they're not great, but they're entertaining to me. But I get sucked in, and every single movie, and you can watch all of them. Every single movie has a different origin story for how the Transformers got to Earth. Literally, all 5 of them. The first one, it's like, oh, they were here for this. And the next one's like, oh, no, actually, they did that. And the next one's like, oh, no, actually, this happened. And, like, to me, as a fan of someone who likes story, it ticks me off when you rewrite history as why do I want to pay attention then? It's bad writing. And that's my main nitpick. We've already picked on WWE so much during this podcast about this particular thing, but this one, saying that he had one cell match and one victory and not mentioning it's against the guy he's facing 13 years later, that just drove me nuts. Like the brand new origin stories of the Transformers every 4 years. The movie comes out. So anyway, I'll let you talk.
A little Transformers talk here on this show. I don't know. I've only seen the first one, so I've only got that origin story. But
if you watch the second one, they'll have a new origin story, and the third one, and the fourth one, and the fifth one. So, anyway,
I'm glad you were able to get that off your chest.
I had to.
I'm sure you're not the only one. I'm sure you're not. But after the arena transforms and the cell gets lowered down to the ring, and Lesnar's hopping in the ring, he's feeling it tonight, dude. He's sprinting back and forth between the ropes. He's getting warmed up. The Undertaker's going to come out second. JBL calls him the greatest of all time. And Cole notes that in 4 weeks, we're going to be celebrating 25 years of the Dead Man as they celebrate his 25th anniversary at Survivor Series next month in Atlanta, Georgia, which, spoiler, it didn't go to that show. It took place on my 1-year wedding anniversary, and couldn't quite convince the wife to celebrate at Survivor Series that year. But that's my nitpick, and I'll get to it after the match. But
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't have said that and already advertised that The Undertaker's going to be at Survivor Series next month, because it kind of takes the wind out of what they try to do at the finish. But remember that. We'll get to it in a little while here. Cole also runs down Undertaker's history inside Hell in a Cell, saying this is his 13th time inside this structure, and that he's tied with Triple H with the most wins at 6 inside Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah, and then we, again, when Taker comes in second, you know what you're going to get. So Taker comes in, slams the cell door behind him. Great pop from the LA crowd, and you can mark that off your bingo card, ladies and gentlemen. If your Jeremy Bagley bingo is ready to go, Taker slamming the cell door is there. And in fact, when he does it, JBL says, "Here we go." So
Here we go.
Dude, JBL is such a. I didn't realize how big of a Taker mark he was. So I'll go back and listen to it. I love it.
Huge.
I love it. I love it. So it's so good, man. Especially because he's supposed to be the heel commentator, but he can't help himself.
No.
Those boys out there.
He hates Bo Dallas and loves Undertaker.
And he hates the Ascension. Oh man, remember that?
He
Bless
really
our hearts.
hated them. Yeah, buried them.
Well, Lesnar stares Taker down as he makes it up the steps, and Taker gets in. They kind of both pace back and forth, kind of circling each other and stand face to face in the middle of the ring. And Brock's kind of just smirking at Taker, and Taker's just stoic. He's just staring at him, like only Undertaker can. And Mike Chioda backs him up, and then Taker does the throat slash, and Brock kind of laughs a little bit and gets wide-eyed, and we're about to go here as the bell rings.
Well, it's kind of like you talked about. It does have a bit of a UFC feel at the start of the match, as they don't touch gloves or anything, but they have a little time where they kind of stare at each other before the ref says, "Let's get it on." And then they circle each other for a little bit, UFC style, at the beginning of this match. They're both kind of back each other in the corner. Nobody's really getting any punches or anything in here, feeling each other out for a few seconds. Crowd is awesome here in LA tonight. They are hot the entire time. Really appreciated that. And they've got dueling Suplex City, Undertaker chants. Both, it's like 50-50. Both very, very loud here. As Undertaker, he blocks Brock's first few attempts to go for some suplexes to start off. Lesnar backs him into a corner and hits some shoulder blocks into Undertaker. Then Undertaker reverses an Irish whip and sends Lesnar into the opposite corner. Lesnar blocks an Irish whip. He hits some strikes on Taker, hits some big clubbing blows to Undertaker. And then Lesnar goes for another suplex, but Undertaker, he scouted him, dude. He drops to his knees and sends Lesnar flying out to the outside of the ring here.
Yeah, and Lesnar, again, he just goes through the ropes with, reckless abandon. He just flies through them. He has no regard for his own safety when he does this. I love it, man, because he knows what to do, man. You can give him crap for not being, his heart not being in it or whatever. But, dude, this guy knows the little things in wrestling. I'm sorry. I give him so much credit. He's so great, man.
Yeah, when he's in there, when he's in there with Kofi Kingston or something, he doesn't barely break a sweat or anything. Right. Yeah, he definitely has his moments where he does that, or with Ricochet, was that this year, I think. But, dude, when he's in there with The Undertaker, or he's in there with Roman Reigns, or Seth Rollins or something.
Daniel Bryan and AJ,
he takes a beating, dude. Yeah. And he sells and he bumps. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So excellent counter from the Dead Man here, just throwing Brock outside. And they start fighting on the outside, and they make it to the side of the cell, and Taker gets Irish whipped into the side of the cell, and of course this is the cell that has the chains on top, so every time somebody touches the walls, cling, 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 give you that extra little sound. Brock has Taker up, but Taker slips out and shoves Brock headfirst into the ring post. And commentary say, "Oh, Brock Lesnar blocked it. He got his hand up," but we see that they were dead wrong because he is busted open on his head, which is the same thing that happened to him at Mania against Reigns. He hit his head on the ring post and busted open.
Yeah, I don't know if he was blocking it or maybe he was doing a little blade job there.
Yeah.
I think they. Undertaker starts going after that cut, dude, and it's a big one, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bloody mess, and Undertaker opens it up even more here. Brock throws hands with Undertaker, and it's back and forth. Undertaker sends Lesnar into the cell, and Undertaker grabs a chair, tosses it into the ring, and rolls Lesnar into the ring, but Lesnar is waiting for Undertaker, hits him with a takedown, and then gets a chair shot right into Undertaker's back, and another one, and then, it's just sign of the times, man. Blood back in the day in their first Hell in a Cell. Remember how bloody Undertaker was in that match, and the blood's like
squirting out,
dripping into Brock's face when he's pinning him, and we used to have the blood tracker because there'd be so much blood on every episode of Raw. We would make fun of how much blood there was. In 2015, blood's supposed to be off limits. It's supposed to be, you're not even supposed to have blood unless it's accidental. And whenever there is blood, we see the referees put gloves on their hands, and we see the doctor come into this match to check on the cut of Brock Lesnar. Again, so giving up that UFC vibes. That's a thing UFC does, and that's now a thing that WWE does, and it's kind of jarring to see it here because Lesnar sort of like collapses from the blood loss, and that's when the doctor comes in.
Yeah, and it's funny, like what a missed opportunity to connect this back to 2002 or 3 or whatever. Like, what a missed opportunity. Like, you could have gone back and circled back around and talked about what you just talked about, how the last time they're in Hell in a Cell, Taker was a bloody mess. And there's just so many things they could have done just to really put it over the edge, man. So, but again, it's not a knock on the whole thing. But, the doctor kind of checks on Brock, and then Brock grabs the chair, and we see that Taker has dropped around to the outside of the ring now. He's rolled out of the ring, and Brock swings and hits Taker in the head. Taker kind of gets his hands up a little bit on there, like, you can't block it with your hands. And it's like, well, if it's not blocking with your hands, because if Brock Lesnar's hitting you with it, it's going to hurt no matter what. So he hits him again. Then he hits him sideways, kind of on the shoulder, but the commentary says from the jaw. But once they see a replay, it's really just the shoulder. But then Lesnar starts choking Taker and then whips him into the side of the cell. And then Lesnar's going to really take it to a UFC mode. He's going to remove his right glove and go Michael Jackson here and just have one glove on, and he start punching Taker just square in the head.
That's not what I would call going Michael Jackson on, but anyway.
There's plenty of other things he could have done. I was trying to keep it PG.
Taker, it is a cool touch though to see Brock take his glove off. Really adds to the brutality of it here, but this adds to the brutality as Undertaker gets Brock in the ring, and he does what we dubbed the Takerizer back in the day when he used to do this as Big Evil. But if you don't remember, it's when Undertaker grabs a chair, sticks it under his opponent's throat, and then jams that person's throat into the chair, into the mat. And it's always brutal looking. Haven't seen Undertaker do it in a while here, but he busts it out for Hell in a Cell, and he goes for a cover off of that, but Brock's able to kick out.
Yeah, and then Taker just kind of immediately gets on Brock and starts elbowing him in the forehead and starts pulling on Brock's nose, just kind of getting desperate here, just really showing the ugly side. And he Irish whips, but Brock slips behind Taker, hits a German suplex, so he's hit a few at this time. So Taker starts punching him, and Brock goes for another German suplex, hits a third one. And the ref's checking on. At this point, I just wanted to comment. The ref checks on Taker, and you could see him, a sign of, WWE in WWE land. If the referee will check on you, if you squeeze his hand, that means you're okay. That's kind of one of those behind the scenes things. You can see it in matches. Well, I just noticed it right here. He does it because, again, I'm sure he was legit concerned because that's, he was out of it at WrestleMania 30, and then after, the SummerSlam, he had quote unquote passed out backstage, whatever. Like, so, but this one, it was kind of neat if you know those things to pay attention and see him check on Taker and see Taker squeeze his hand and say, "Oh, I'm good." So, but he's okay. But then he's about to not be okay because Brock's gonna get his hands on him here.
Lesnar's really wearing down Undertaker. He's really selling, as you said, and Undertaker is bleeding from those punches and shots to his head here too. Not quite to the level of Brock, but he does have some blood pouring out here. And this doctor's going to roll into the ring again to check on the cuts of both men. And you can see Brock Lesnar getting really frustrated. He doesn't like having the match being interrupted like this. And he grabs a chair, but the referee and the doctor force him into the corner to get looked at. And then something really unexpected, Brock tosses the doctor out of the way and then runs and hits an F5 on Undertaker here. So obviously this is part of the plan, part of the storyline. Brock would be in huge trouble if he actually tossed a doctor out of the ring. I think even a guy like him would know better than to do that. But it's a cool touch for this sports entertainment match. It really adds to it and to the brutality of it here. And then he goes and hits the F5, and Undertaker kicks out again.
Yeah, I think I may have forgot to say he hit one right after Taker gave that hand signal. So he hits an F5. Then the doctor comes in. So yeah, he hits two here. It's crazy. So Taker kicks out of the second one, like you said, and then Heyman is screaming at this point on the outside. And Brock goes and grabs the top part of the ring steps and throws him over the top rope. Which, again, I want to reiterate, he throws him over the top rope with absolutely no problem at all.
Right. Just and those weigh 4,000 pounds.
Yeah, according to Michael Cole. He slides in and hits Taker with him. Taker collapses, but he's able to kick out of a cover at 2.5. So then Lesnar is just kind of looking around the ring, seeing what his next move's going to be, and he drags Taker to the middle of the ring.
Brock goes to smash Undertaker's leg with the steps, but Undertaker rolls away in time. And then Brock attempts murder on the Undertaker by trying to smash these steps into his face. Thankfully, Undertaker gets his feet up and kicks the steps into Brock's face, and Brock kind of tumbles backwards and has the stairs land on top of him here as Undertaker gets the better of him with that.
Yeah, but if you watch, he legit drops him on his head. He gets another cut on his head. Like, he has 2 cuts now because I think he just didn't realize how far back he had to go. I don't know what happened, but he just drops him on his own head again. So this guy is out of control, man. He's nuts. But then Taker is able to lock the Hell's Gate right there in the middle of the ring. And Lesnar's kind of starting to fight out, and he starts to fade. And then eventually he just kind of gets a juice, or a burst of juice, adrenaline, in through his veins, and he is just able to just pound his way out. He starts just brutalizing Taker's head. Really stiff shots, in my opinion, if you ask me. They look pretty stiff to Taker's head. And I know that it was probably fine. These guys are friends, but they looked real snug-ski, man.
That's some UFC style stuff right there. But you don't ever see this in UFC, as Brock, he loses it and he starts ripping up the mat in the ring. He rips up the canvas. He rips out the small, thin layer of foam that's underneath that and exposes the wood boards on the ring. As Undertaker sits up, and the commentary, I think it's King, says, well, if you ever wondered what it looks like under the ring, there you go. Yeah. Which is interesting. Like, most people have never seen that. And they've done this a couple other times since then. I think this was the first time they ever did anything like this. Like, I think, didn't Ciampa and Gargano do this in one of their matches where they tore up the ring?
They've done it a few times since. Yeah, that was incredible. And then also, was it Lesnar and Strowman did this not in the not too distant past here? I think they did this, or maybe it was the Fiend. He's done it a time or two or something. But yeah, in the most recent years, they've done it quite a bit. But yeah, this was really one of the first times you saw.
The first time I remember.
In the modern era of them doing this. Usually it was pull the mats up on the outside and do a pile driver on the concrete or something. But this is exposing the biz right here, man. You get to see what's underneath the mat there.
Did the Nexus do it? I guess when they
may have,
yeah, that might have been the first, but that's not in a match.
No,
quite like
this
this
is in a match. So, and I love this, man. It's just I love where we're headed. I love that
It,
something different. It's something different,
yes,
man.
it's
Something
hard to
different.
come up with something different in the year
Yeah.
2015, but they do it here as Undertaker, he sits up, like I said, as Brock is doing
Mm-hmm.
that, and he gets to his feet and hits a choke slam on that exposed
Oh.
wood on Brock Lesnar. Brock was tearing it up, but Undertaker gets up first and does the damage to him on there. And then
Yeah.
gets Lesnar up and hits a tombstone on the wood as the crowd is going nuts here.
Oh yeah, they are, man. On the exposed wood, he's hit 2 of his finishing moves on it. Does the classic cover, but Brock is inhuman. He kicks out at 2.9, but the crowd bit on that false finish really big. And I remember I bit on that real hard. I thought, all right,
Sure.
Taker's going to win this. He always wins his feuds. Someone else may win the battle, but he wins the war. No, that was not it. So Taker is shocked. Again, selling that shock. The crowd is, commentary team is like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, what does he have to do to Brock Lesnar to get him out? So we'll see how it goes here.
Well, Undertaker gets to his feet first. I like on commentary that King says, "This guy is superhuman," and JBL says, "Which one?" Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
Which one of these guys? Undertaker gets to his feet, looks down at Lesnar, does the throat slash, but Brock Lesnar does something you wouldn't expect from him, the thing Paul Heyman says he wouldn't do, and he gives Undertaker a shot right to Death Valley, to the shock of the crowd. He hoists Undertaker up, hits an F5 on him on that exposed wood, and that's enough to get the 3 count and the win. Great storytelling. It plays into everything that we've seen over the past 4 or 5 months since Undertaker returned at Battleground. They play in to that low blow, to the desperation that Brock Lesnar has to go to now to finish things off against the old gunslinger here. I think whoever came up with that finish, my hat's off to you. That's some really good pro wrestling storytelling right there.
Oh, without question, man. Yeah, it's great. I really dug it. It's like an 18-minute match. It didn't feel like it was that long, though. I really dug every single thing they did. And, Brock has defeated Taker now in what's, billed as their last battle ever. So the sell immediately raises. We see replays here, and Brock is selling, the war he's just been in. He looks spent here. And Michael Cole says, this is kind of bittersweet, it's a bittersweet symphony, I guess. So he he's kind of just rehashing the match and the end of it. But yeah, like you said, man, just the I don't know, it's just poetic, man. Like that ending was perfect. I just really, really dug the ending of that and how it just dealt with and brought in all the stories since Taker's return and at Battleground. So it was really, really good. I wonder if that's a Pat Patterson finish or a Michael Hayes or who, but whoever it was genius, man. Good storytelling.
It's a great image in the ring as you see these two monsters bloodied and laid out. They're both exhausted. You see a chair in the ring. You see blood stains. You see stairs. You see the ring torn up, the exposed wood in the ring. I mean, that's how you want a wrestling match to be over right there. And like you said, Brock's selling huge. Paul Heyman ends up carrying him basically out of the ring. And Undertaker looks over to Brock, and he's on his side, but he kind of lifts his head up and does a little point. Not the GFY point. He points the index finger at Brock and kind of shakes it at him, kind of saying, "All right, you got me. You got me."
Yeah.
Giving him a little bit of respect here as Lesnar, he actually collapses in the aisle as Undertaker is down in the ring, and they both really sell the effects of the battle as we see some replays and Brock heads out of the ring.
Yeah, and I like JBL says something neat here. Again, I didn't think I'd dig his commentary so much, but he really does help add to these Taker matches. He says that what Brock has learned from Taker over these last few months has now put him on another level. So I guess even meaning put that desperation he's learned to dig down deep and be desperate like Taker. I don't know, but I just really thought that was pretty cool. Again, you see them still building that Brock, I guess, brand, and then putting him on a pedestal for where they're headed in the future. So he leaves. Taker's struggling to sit up in the middle of the ring. He kind of tries to sit up, and he milks it. The crowd's chanting it for him, and Thank you, Taker. He finally sits up in the ring and kind of shakes his head in the middle of the ring and kind of like, yeah, I couldn't get it done, but he gets a standing ovation from everybody here in LA in the Staples Center, which really, really cool to see. Again, they know it's his last match against Brock, but it's almost like it's his last match ever, and the way they're treating it. So
they're really selling it like that, much like WrestleMania 30, and the announcers, all three of the announce desk, they all get up and give Undertaker a standing ovation here. So it's very, very similar to that. But as Undertaker gets down to one knee to do the Hamlet pose, the lights cut out. We hear the video feed shorts, and the Wyatt family, the newly, I guess since we last covered them, reunited Wyatt family comes out. Bray Wyatt,
With
Luke Harper, Eric Roman, yes, and Braun Strowman, the rookie, just newly debuted. They all make their way out to the ring. They're led by Bray's lantern. Bray's music plays. The fireflies are lit up in the crowd here as the story is not over yet. Undertaker is gassed, but he's the old gunslinger, man. He pulls down the straps, and he's going to give it a go anyway.
Yeah, he's got his hands up. He's ready for a fight, got his dukes up, and they're all surrounding him on every side, and they get on the apron and just kind of swarm him. And he battles back for a second, but Harper is able to hold him kind of in a crucifix on the ground, and Strowman and Rowan are kicking in, putting the boots to him as Bray's kind of standing back, just orchestrating the destruction here, telling him what to do, and he yells at Taker to open your eyes, and the Wyatt family is holding him back, and he starts punching Taker in the face and mocks him with a throat slash, and then tells the Wyatt family to take him out of the ring. So they drag Taker out and hold him up in a crucifix position. They drag him out from under the bottom rope, and it's very reminiscent of the terrorist angle that we did with Muhammad Hassan when they beat him up and then crucifix carry him out. At least it wasn't the day on terrorist bombing or anything. So,
wow.
But yeah.
That's next month on Talking Taker.
No.
We'll talk about a terrorist plot, oddly enough, on next week's show. But it's certainly a compelling climax here, or cliffhanger, as heading off the show, off this pay-per-view here. But my only complaint is that, as I mentioned earlier, we've already heard Michael Cole advertise and promise that The Undertaker is going to be at Survivor Series next month, celebrating his 25 years. Mm-hmm. Imagine if they hadn't had said that and advertised that already, and we actually got to feel that emotion and question if Undertaker is going to retire here after this Brock Lesnar match yet again. Like, that's my whole thought watching it back, is like, they're going for that feeling. They're trying to make you think that and then throw you off when Wyatt family comes out. But we all already know that Taker's not going anywhere because you've already advertised him for next month. Like, just wait till tomorrow night on Raw and do that. That's my only complaint with that.
They had to wait one day. Was it one day? We couldn't wait one day. It's like, they kind of spoiled their own, story here, but but it's neat to see where they're headed here. And I mean, but it really did take away a little bit when they announced earlier he's going to be there. So, but we'll cover that on next week's episode. So,
well, what's your review of this match and this 2015 rivalry with Brock Lesnar?
This match to me was exactly what it needed to be. Brutal. Hard hitting, the exposed wood was a nice touch. They don't overdo. Again, you've seen it a few times since then,
exposed
but when you
wood,
see it,
always a nice touch, man.
When you see it,
that's not what I meant. I wasn't trying to be dirty. I just meant like a house or like architecture, brother.
It's a nice touch. Like wood paneling and stuff.
Yes.
Always means something. Hardwood floors, always means a little something.
GFY, man. GFY.
Well, go watch this match. This wraps up the 13-year story of Taker versus Brock. And again, I think that the right guy went over here based on what Brock's future is supposed to be and the position that these two guys are in. Taker could lose every single match since the streak and it'd still be fine because he's the freaking Undertaker. He's got so much history, so much equity with his fans built in. It doesn't matter. Wins and losses don't matter anymore. Brock, yes, he's in his mid to late 30s or whatever, or 40s. I don't even know how old he is here, but he's still the future of the company. He's still a, pillar of their future and their business model. And right or wrong, I think the right guy went over here. And again, my only drawback is they only dug into the 2-year history instead of the 13-year history. But what about you?
I can't disagree with anything you said. I thought this match and the SummerSlam match too, this whole edition of their rivalry, this final chapter and run from Battleground to that brawl on Raw, SummerSlam, and this, just great stuff, man. I know we heard from some listeners that kind of tuned out after WrestleMania 30 and still have a bitter taste in their mouth after all that stuff. I do, but man, go back and rewatch it, dude. This is a really, really good Undertaker match. Very brutal. I mean, if you're an Attitude Era fan, this was a throwback to that.
Oh, yeah.
Both guys bleeding. Probably the last great Hell in a Cell match, honestly. I mean, I haven't watched all of the most recent Hell in a Cell pay-per-views, but to me, it's the last great one that I've seen.
There have been some good ones involving other guys, younger guys, but last probably great one involving, Taker for sure, but involving, and Brock's he's only had 2 Hell in a Cell matches? No, has he had one since then?
I don't remember.
One with like Strowman, or I can't remember.
This is probably the last really brutal one. Last one that's a throwback to an original Hell in a Cell.
Absolutely. But and just again, good storytelling, because again, these guys aren't on TV every single week trading wins, tagging against each other. It's all story built, story driven, promo driven. You get the physicality when you pay for it, and I really dig that. So. Good stuff. Go watch it. I definitely think it'd be fun to go watch both of these Hell in a Cells back to back. The 2 that they had. So, because their initial one was still one of my favorite Hell in a Cells. I said it back then. We covered it, and I'll stand by it.
Agreed.
That may be number 2 as far as Hell in a Cells for me. So, love it. So. Anyway, good stuff. Truly
fitting into their rivalry here as we keep this podcast rolling on to the last ride. We'll come back next week as we cover Survivor Series 2015, that 25-year anniversary celebration of the dead man, with The Undertaker and Kane, the Brothers of Destruction, reuniting against the Wyatt family on pay-per-view here. I am excited to watch that. I have never seen this match. I did not watch that show. I never watched it back. So this is the first for me. I'm excited to see it for the very first time.
Cool, man.
Before we get there, we want to hear your comments on this match. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at TalkingTaker. You know where to find us. You know where to go for the podcast, to go leave a review or leave a comment, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. Did get a few comments from some people when we asked for your memories of this match. Let's see here. The Daily Smark, at the Daily Smark, said, I love specialty podcasts and Talking Taker is a favorite. So appreciate that.
Gracias.
Daily Smark. Evan _ John 97 hit us up with some of the facts that we mentioned here. This is the second time Brock had been in Hell in a Cell, which is hard to believe. This was Taker's 13th cell match, his first since the end of an era versus Triple H. And I love this podcast name, Stranger Rings. At Stranger Rings.
Ooh, nice.
Said, I remember this match very fondly. Other than the infamous Mania match, Taker and Brock always create magic together. 100% agree.
Well, they created magic that night. It just wasn't the same kind of magic.
Black magic, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of folks shared with us some Undertaker Halloween costumes. Let's see here. At Simon Ben had a really good one with Paul Bearer in the picture. And then at Biker Taker, who we've seen, he's a great Undertaker cosplayer. He had Undertaker as the Dead Man and as the Boneyard match. Some cosplay there. So
nice.
Good stuff. People sharing with us some Undertaker 30th anniversary merchandise. They have these lawn chairs, Adirondack chairs with the Undertaker on it that WWE shop
Like
is selling.
$1,000 or something, aren't they?
Oh my word!
No, I think they're $400. Seriously.
I love it. We'll take it if you want. If you want to gift it to us, I'm sure my wife would love that on the patio. And then this new custom winged eagle title belt and a deluxe urn. Only 100 of them are being made and available. That is really, really interesting looking, really beautiful. So kudos to that. If any of you get that, we'd love to see your picture of it. As long as you're not doing the Shawn Michaels pose, we'll see your picture of it.
I think that's
no exposed wood, please. That's honestly not what I meant, Travis, the first time.
That's fine.
Jeremy Bagley again with some more great graphics last week of Brock Lesnar showing his getting hit in the chocolate sundae with the crushed nuts on it. Thank you for that, Jeremy. And then St. Ridley Santos, we asked him for his knowledge about the Latin that Heyman was chanting last week, and it was Heyman giving the last rites to Undertaker.
Yeah.
It's legit Latin,
sense.
saying in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. So, St. Ridley, thank you for your knowledge and clarifying that. And then, of course, we do have the 30 Days of the Dead Man. This is the Undertaker's 30th anniversary celebration of that going on all month long. And on Halloween, we saw a couple cool things. Undertaker appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon on Friday night. His return to The Tonight Show. Second appearance on there with Jimmy Fallon. Tombstoning a scarecrow, which was random and hilarious. So love to see him on The Tonight Show. And then this was cool. We shared it on our Twitter feed, but the band Larkin Poe, which is a great band. If you ever want to check them out, great two sisters from Georgia that play some incredible blues guitar, really great guitar players. I've seen them in concert before. Great band. Totally surprising to see them. They did like a 45-second cover of The Undertaker's theme song and did like a guitar riff inspired by that. So if you hadn't seen that, scroll through our Twitter feed. In fact, I'll probably play it at the end of tonight's podcast. I'll just throw it on the end of there. That'll be our clip at the end of the show. If you haven't heard it yet. That was fantastic. And then we had the next special on the WWE Network, meeting The Undertaker. Travis, what were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was neat. It was obviously just B-roll footage from the Last Rock documentary, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad they did. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor. I'd like to see all of it, please. I'd love them just all of it. I don't care. Just give it to me all. But I really dug this. Some neat stories. Some of them you've heard before. We've discussed, even especially the Big Show stuff like that. We've discussed on here on the podcast before. But some really neat stories, especially from the Rotunda brothers. That's kind of neat to hear
that
their
was
story.
A funny one. Yeah.
Yeah, and just again seeing the I want to mention two guys, Batista and Edge, and Orton actually, seeing those three guys and kind of their we've talked about their stories on here a bit, but just seeing how much, particularly the Edge and Batista, the Taker means to their lives, their professional lives and personal lives, kind of neat. So it's kind of neat, but it wasn't anything to blow your wig back or anything, but it was just cool. Extra footage. Yeah,
it's something you can put on in the background as you're doing something else. Some of the stuff you've heard, but I enjoyed the younger generation hearing their stories. I loved Xavier Woods. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, but he had one of my favorite stories of meeting the dead man on there. Really, really cool stuff. So, yeah, really quick, simple thing you can throw on the network and watch real quick. And we're
it's only like 25 minutes.
I think it's 23 minutes, yep. Yeah. We are celebrating the 30 years of the dead man. It kind of just one of those things that's worked out perfectly timing for us for our next few episodes because, like we said, next week we're going to cover the 25 years of the dead man match from Survivor Series 2015, which is perfect. We're right in Survivor Series season. And then the week after that, we're going to do something celebrating one of The Undertaker's momentous accomplishments. having the highest rated match in cable television history with Stone Cold Steve Austin on Raw from June of 1999, where he loses the title back to Stone Cold Steve Austin. We're going to be joined by none other than the guys who talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin every week, the Bottom Line Podcast. We're going to do a special watch-along episode, not just for that match, but for that entire episode of Monday Night Raw, straight from the Attitude Era. Something unique and different we've never done before. Very excited to do that.
It's going to be wicked awesome.
It will be. In 3 weeks, we will cover all of the 30 Days of the Dead Man content on the WWE Network. We will do a recap episode of all of those specials. Maybe we'll throw something else on the end of that. We'll see, how much content there is to talk about. But we will do something celebrating all of that. And then something extra special we're going to throw in your podcast feed on the actual anniversary of The Undertaker's debut. We are going to go back and do a watch-along for that Survivor Series 1990 debut match. So we'll actually release that as a bonus show on The Undertaker's actual anniversary. It won't be like, an hour and a half. That match isn't that long, but we'll just throw it on, do some commentary about it, reflect on how much we have learned and seen over the past 3 years of going through Undertaker's career. So it'll be fun to revisit that first match. So we're doing our own 30 Days of the Dead Man celebration here on the podcast over the next few weeks, just kind of to give you guys a little preview of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of good stuff, a lot of good content coming from the network, and hopefully coming from us. Hopefully you guys are digging it. Again, we're kind of winding down his career here. He got 5 more years, or 4.5 years left as far as Talking Taker story timeline goes. So trying to throw some few bonus episodes in here for you guys and a few extra things because, trying to hold on to this. This
trying to make it last.
Going down. Taker ship's going down. We don't want to go yet. But it'll be fun stuff. It's not just stuff for the sake of doing it. It's fun stuff that hopefully you're going to enjoy and the tie into him and meaningful things like the highest rated match in cable history ever. So pretty cool stuff. But hope you guys will stick around with us to the end. And if you were there at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, let us know what you thought about this Hell in a Cell. If you were there 13 years and 5 days ahead at their previous Hell in a Cell and you were there at this, let us know. We'd love to hear about that.
And last but not least, the spooky season is over. Some people say Christmas begins on November 1st. I am not one of those people. I prefer...
No, me neither.
I don't put my tree up till after Thanksgiving. I don't listen to any Christmas music till after Thanksgiving. But, Travis, I guess you felt differently because you went ahead and sent me a Christmas present that got delivered today. And I asked you if I should open it on the show, and you said to go for it.
That's fine, man. It's fine. Go for it. It was... Well, I'll explain in a second.
Okay.
So, yeah, I didn't intend for it to come right now, but it is what it is. But just remember that come Christmas time.
All right. Nice box.
This is live and in living color, ladies and
WWE.
gentlemen.
Oh, wow. That is nice. Undertaker. Now, this is an Undertaker hat. It is not the Undertaker hat in question from Randy Turco. But it is a 30-0. Not 30-0.
No,
it's just 3-0. Yeah. It's just 30. With the XT on there. I love that. Man, that's a nice chucker hat. It doesn't say WWE on it, so I like that. It does have a sticker, but I like that it doesn't say WWE on there. Exactly.
That was my draw. I know you like hats, you like the trucker hats, and
I
thought that was a good one that you could wear. People might not even know what that is. You can still wear it out and not be embarrassed if it says big old WWE symbol on the side.
I wouldn't be embarrassed
like
anyway. And then there's another box in here, a little small box, and it is an Undertaker mug. That's what I'm talking about.
That mug. Do you have any warm coffee with you?
It's not warm. Okay. I've finished my tea, and it's not warm yet. But I can kind of see what you're about to say.
when you pour hot coffee into that mug, his face shows up on there, and the mug changes color, and you see his symbol and stuff like that. So
I could
anyway.
I could see a little bit of the purple face on there,
Okay,
dude.
there
I
you go.
can't wait to do that. That's amazing.
They put all this stuff up on the network or on the WWE shop the other day, and it said at the time limited quantity, order now, blah blah. It may have been a marketing ploy, but they suckered me in, so I had to get it right then. I wasn't sure how long the prices were going to last because they were good, and I just wasn't sure if they're going to jack stuff up to come Christmas time. So anyway, it said order now, so I did, and it came to you like 4 days later. But whatever. But Merry Christmas, my
Merry
friend.
early Christmas to you, my friend. Oh, man, I don't deserve it. Thank you, sir.
A Merry un-Christmas to you.
This is awesome. I do... I'm probably 50-50 between drinking coffee or tea or drinking a brewski while I'm recording the podcast. So I can't wait to put some coffee in this for next week's episode. I'll do it tomorrow morning. Got to be up at like 5:45 tomorrow morning. So I will drink a few of these. So thank you, sir. Can't wait to use that. I'll post some pictures of these on the Talking Taker.
The hat looks good, man.
Social media. It's perfect. That's my kind of hat, dude.
Exactly. I know it.
I love
it.
it.
Had you written all over it, dude.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anyway, man, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Well, yeah, if you were there, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to send us any Christmas gifts, we'll take them. We don't care if it's November. We'll take them early. We got no problem with that.
tpublic.com if you want to get Christmas gifts. We don't have the GFY shirt up yet, but let us know if you want it.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on it. Got some other good ones.
You. Holy cow, that's
good
a
for
great
you.
one. Yeah. But yeah, let us know if you were at Staples Center what you thought about this. What do you think about this as the end of this era, the end of the feud between the Beast and the Dead Man? So let us know your thoughts. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Stay safe out there. And as always, take her easy.